People are always asking me, Steve, what's the secret to a strong relationship? And every time I hear that, I smile, because the answer ain't as fancy as people think. A strong relationship isn't built on flowers every day or fancy trips every weekend. Those things are nice, but real strength comes from the stuff you don't see on Instagram. It's built in the quiet moments, in the hard times, in the choices you make when nobody's watching. Respect is non-negotiable. I don't care how fine somebody is, how much money they make, or how much chemistry you've got. If there's no respect, the relationship is already on shaky ground. Respect is the glue that holds everything else together. People confuse love with respect, but the truth is, love can't exist without respect, and that's dangerous. You can love somebody and still talk to them any kind of way. You can love somebody and still put them down. But when you respect somebody, you won't do anything to hurt their dignity because you value who they are as a person. I've seen relationships fall apart, not because there wasn't love, but because one person stopped respecting the other. You can't build something strong when you're constantly stepping on each other's feelings. Respect shows up in the little things. How you listen when they talk, how you treat them in front of others, how you handle disagreements without tearing them down. If you can't be kind when you're angry, that's not real respect. Anybody can be nice when they're happy. The test comes when you're frustrated, disappointed, or downright mad. That's when you find out if you truly honor that person. Respect also means valuing your partner's individuality. They had a life, goals, and dreams before they met you. Don't try to erase that. Support it. Encourage it. Let them be themselves without fear of being judged or controlled. Nothing will kill respect faster than trying to change someone into something they're not. You fell for them as they are. Don't punish them for being that person. It's also about the way you talk to each other. Some people think it's harmless to throw little jabs, make sarcastic jokes, or bring up past mistakes as just teasing. But those little cuts add up over time. Words stick. A single insult can echo in someone's head long after you've forgotten you even said it. And when it comes from the person they trust the most, it cuts deeper. Public respect is just as important as private respect. I've seen folks clown their partner in front of friends just to get a laugh. It might seem funny in the moment, but that's a wound you're creating. Your partner should never have to wonder if you've got their back when other people are watching. When you're in a relationship, you become each other's safe place. If they can't feel safe with you, they'll start pulling away. Respect also shows up in how you handle temptations. The truth is, no matter how much you love each other, there will be moments when you're tempted by another person, by selfishness, by pride. Respect is what stops you from crossing that line. You're not just thinking about what you want in the moment. You're thinking about what your actions say about the way you value your partner. And let's talk about listening. Listening isn't just hearing words. It's caring about what those words mean. When your partner is talking, put your phone down, look at them, and give them your full attention. That's how you tell somebody you matter. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter. Disrespect often starts in the small moments when you make them feel invisible. If you want your relationship to be strong, make respect your daily practice. Don't wait for a big fight to remember it. Show it in how you speak, in how you act, in how you support, and in how you protect your bond. Love might be the heart of a relationship, but respect is the backbone. Without it, everything collapses. With it, you can weather almost anything life throws your way. Communicate like teammates, not opponents. That's where most couples mess up. They treat conversations like battles to be won instead of problems to be solved. When you see your partner as the enemy in a disagreement, you've already lost, because even if you win the argument, you damage the relationship in the process. The goal in communication isn't to come out on top, it's to come out together. And that means shifting your mindset from me versus you to versus the problem. When two people love each other, they're supposed to be on the same team. That means you fight for each other, not against each other. But too often, pride gets in the way. Pride will have you more focused on proving your point than hearing theirs. Pride will have you raising your voice instead of raising your understanding. I've seen couples go back and forth over the smallest things, not because the issue was big, but because both sides were too busy trying to be right. Here's the truth. Being right doesn't mean you're communicating well. Sometimes you can be right in the facts, but wrong in the delivery. You might have the perfect point, but if you say it with disrespect, anger, or sarcasm, it's going to land wrong. Communication isn't just about what you say. It's about how you say it, and when you say it, timing matters. Tone matters. Body language matters. If you're rolling your eyes, sighing, or talking over them, you're not having a discussion. You're having a standoff. Listening is half the battle, and most people don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. That means while the other person is talking, you're already loading up your counter-argument instead of truly hearing their side. Good communication means slowing down, putting your ego aside, and trying to see the world through their eyes for a moment. You don't have to agree to understand, but you do have to make the effort. Another part of communicating like teammates is learning how to express yourself without attacking. Say how you feel, not just what they did wrong. Use I statements. I feel hurt when, instead of you always, or you never. The minute you start with accusations, the other person's walls go up and the conversation turns into defense mode. And when both people are defending, nobody's solving anything. It's also important to pick your battles. Not every disagreement needs to turn into a deep discussion. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is this worth the energy? Strong couples know when to let the little stuff slide so they can save their strength for the real challenges. You can't treat every small annoyance like it's a deal breaker, because if you do, you'll be in a constant state of tension. When you're truly on the same team, you start looking for solutions that work for both of you, not just yourself. That might mean compromise. That might mean meeting in the middle. That might mean swallowing your pride and admitting you were wrong. And yes, that's hard. But every strong relationship is built on people who are willing to do hard things for each other. The last thing about communication, keep it open, not just during conflicts, but all the time. Don't only talk when something's wrong. Share your dreams, your worries, your little victories. Check in with each other emotionally before problems pile up. When you keep a steady flow of connection going, it's easier to tackle the tough conversations because you've built trust in the easy ones. If you start communicating like partners instead of opponents, you'll realize that even the hardest conversations can bring you closer, not push you apart. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to win the fight, it's to win together. Keep dating each other. That's one of the biggest mistakes couples make. They stop doing the very things that made them fall in love in the first place. In the beginning, you put in effort. You planned surprises, you dressed up, you asked deep questions, you paid attention to every little detail. But somewhere along the way, life gets busy. Routines set in. And suddenly the person who used to get the best version of you is now getting the tired, distracted, we'll talk later version. That's when love starts to feel stale, not because the feelings are gone, but because the effort is. Dating each other after you've committed is not about spending a ton of money or doing grand gestures all the time. It's about continuing to show your partner that they're still a priority. Think about it. You wouldn't get a job, do great for the first 90 days, then stop showing up on time, stop doing your best, and expect to keep the job. Relationships work the same way. You have to keep showing up like you want to be there. Even the smallest acts can keep the spark alive. Leave them a note before you leave for work. Send them a text during the day just to say you're thinking of them. Ask them out for coffee like you did when you first met. It's not about impressing them. It's about reminding them that you still choose them. And when you keep choosing each other day after day, love doesn't just survive, it grows. Here's the thing, people change over time. The person you're with today isn't exactly the same as the person you met years ago. They've grown, they've had new experiences, they've faced new challenges. When you keep dating each other, you keep rediscovering each other. You don't let your partner become a stranger in your own home. You learn what makes them happy now, what stresses them out now, what new dreams they have now. That's how you keep the connection strong. You stay curious about each other. Some folks think once you're married or in a long-term relationship, romance is optional. That's a dangerous mindset. Romance is the fuel that keeps the emotional engine running. Without it, you might still function as a team, pay bills, raise kids, handle responsibilities. But you'll start feeling like roommates instead of lovers. And once you start feeling like roommates, the passion is hard to get back. Making time for each other has to be intentional. Life will always give you reasons to be too busy. Work deadlines, family obligations, household chores, they're never going away. If you wait for the perfect time to reconnect, you'll be waiting forever. You have to create that time. Even if it's just 30 minutes after dinner where you put the phones away and talk, it counts. Another part of dating each other is keeping a sense of playfulness. Laugh together. Be silly. Flirt like you did in the beginning. Send that cheesy text. Steal that kiss in the kitchen. When you stop having fun together, you start losing the lightness that makes love feel joyful. Serious talks are important, but shared laughter builds just as much intimacy. At the end of the day, dating each other is about not taking each other for granted. It's saying, I see you, I appreciate you, and I still want to earn your love every single day. Because love isn't something you win once. It's something you keep winning by the way you treat each other year after year. Protect your relationship from outsiders. That's something a lot of people underestimate. And it's one of the main reasons strong relationships start to weaken. When you're in a committed relationship, you and your partner are building something that's supposed to be yours, your trust, your connection, your foundation. The moment you start letting too many outside voices and influences in, you're opening the door for confusion, doubt, and division. It's like trying to grow a plant, but leaving it out where anyone can step on it. You've got to protect it. Everybody doesn't need to know your business. It's natural to want to share things with friends or family, but there's a fine line between healthy sharing and inviting unnecessary opinions. Once you tell people every detail of your relationship problems, they start forming opinions about your partner. Opinions they won't forget even after you've moved past the issue. You might forgive, but they won't. That's why some couples find themselves caught between their love for each other and the lingering judgments of others. Protection also means setting boundaries with people who might disrupt your bond. It could be friends who disrespect your relationship, coworkers who get a little too familiar, or even family members who then have a say in every decision you make. Boundaries aren't about being rude. They're about making it clear that your relationship is a priority and that certain lines will not be crossed. If someone consistently causes tension between you and your partner, you need to reevaluate how much access they have to your life. Social media is another big area where protection is crucial. Too many couples air their grievances online or let likes and comments dictate how they feel. You can't build something solid if you're constantly putting it on public display for validation or judgment. Not every argument needs a post. Not every moment needs an audience. The strongest couples know that the most valuable parts of their relationship are the parts nobody else sees. Protecting your relationship also means being mindful of who you take advice from. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they understand your relationship or have your best interests at heart. Some people are speaking from their own hurt, jealousy, or personal biases. If you're not careful, you'll take advice that solves their issues but damages yours. Be selective. Seek counsel from people who are wise, experienced, and rooting for your success, not from people who just want to be entertained by your drama. Another part of this is loyalty in the face of temptation. Outsiders aren't just the people you know. They're also the distractions and opportunities that can pull you away from your commitment. It could be someone flirting with you, someone offering you emotional comfort when you're upset with your partner, or situations where you think they'll never find out. Protecting your relationship means shutting those doors before they even open. It means respecting your partner even when they're not around, even when nobody would know the difference. Finally, protection is about unity. If people see cracks between you, some will try to wedge themselves in, whether intentionally or not. You and your partner have to present a united front. That doesn't mean you always agree on everything, but it does mean you handle disagreements privately and stand together publicly. When the world knows you're a team, it's harder for anyone to come between you. Grow together, not apart. That's one of the biggest challenges in a long-term relationship, because life never stops changing, and neither do people. The person you met years ago isn't exactly the same person standing next to you today. They've been through new experiences, learned new lessons, faced new struggles, and developed new dreams. If you're not careful, you'll wake up one day and realize you don't even know who your partner has become. That's why growing together is so important. You've got to keep learning each other and adjusting to the changes instead of drifting apart. In the early days, growth feels natural. You're excited to explore new things together, try new places, and share experiences. But as time goes on, routines settle in, and it's easy to get stuck in autopilot. You start assuming you already know everything about each other. That's when the gap starts forming. Not because you stopped loving each other, but because you stopped actively connecting. Relationships aren't built to stay frozen in time. They're meant to evolve, and if you don't evolve together, you'll end up on different paths. Growing together means supporting each other's goals and dreams, even if they change over time. Maybe your partner wants to start a new career, go back to school, or explore a creative passion they never had time for before. Instead of seeing those changes as a threat or a distraction, see them as an opportunity to be part of their journey. When you celebrate their growth, they'll be more eager to celebrate yours. You're not competing, you're building a shared life where both of you can become the best versions of yourselves. It also means making space for new shared experiences. Try things you've never done together. Take a trip, even if it's just a short one. Learn a skill as a team. Join a class. Cook a new recipe together. Growth isn't always about huge changes. It's about finding ways to keep the relationship fresh and alive. When you share experiences, you create new memories, and those memories become part of the glue that keeps you connected. But growing together doesn't mean you have to be identical or like all the same things. In fact, having individual interests can make a relationship stronger, as long as you respect and support them. Give each other the freedom to grow individually, while still prioritizing the connection you share. It's like two trees planted side by side. You both grow taller and stronger, but your roots are still intertwined. The danger comes when one person is changing and the other refuses to adapt. Sometimes pride or fear can make people resist growth. Maybe they don't want to face the fact that life is different now, or maybe they're afraid of losing control. But the truth is, change is inevitable. You can fight it and drift apart, or embrace it and grow closer. If something matters to your partner, even if it's not your thing, at least try to understand it. Interest shows love, even if you don't share the same passion. Communication plays a big role here too. Talk regularly about where you both are in life, what you're dreaming about, what you're struggling with, what you're looking forward to. Don't assume your partner knows. And don't assume you know theirs. The only way to grow together is to keep each other in the loop about who you're becoming. When you choose to grow together, you make your relationship flexible, adaptable, and resilient. Life will throw challenges your way, new jobs, financial shifts, family changes, health issues, and those things will test you. But if you've made a habit of growing side by side, you'll handle those changes as a team instead of as two people going in opposite directions. That's how love lasts for the long haul, not by staying the same, but by changing together in the same direction. Choose forgiveness over grudges. That's one of the hardest things to do in a relationship, because when someone hurts you, especially someone you love, the natural reaction is to hold on to that pain. You replay it in your head, you bring it up in arguments, you let it sit there between you like an invisible wall. At first, it might even feel like holding that grudge is giving you power. But the truth is, grudges don't protect you. They poison you. And over time, they poison the relationship too. Forgiveness doesn't mean you pretend nothing happened. It doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior or allow someone to keep hurting you. Forgiveness is about choosing to release the grip that the hurt has on your heart. It's saying, I'm not going to let this moment define our future. In a relationship, you will both make mistakes, big ones, small ones, unintentional ones, and sometimes ones you regret the second they leave your mouth. If you can't forgive, you'll end up dragging all those moments into every new day you share. One of the reasons forgiveness is so important is because it keeps the focus on moving forward. When you hold on to a grudge, you keep looking backward, and you can't build a future that way. Imagine trying to drive while only looking in the rearview mirror. You're going to crash. Relationships work the same way. You can't keep building love if you're still living in yesterday's hurt. It also takes humility to forgive. It's easy to think, I would never have done what they did. But the truth is, we all have moments where we fall short. We all say the wrong thing, act out of anger, or fail to show up the way we should. When you remember your own imperfections, it becomes a little easier to extend grace to your partner. That's not weakness, that's strength. It takes a strong person to let go of the need to punish and instead choose to heal. Forgiveness is also tied to trust, and this is where it gets tricky. When trust is broken, forgiving doesn't automatically restore it. Trust has to be rebuilt over time through consistent actions. But forgiveness opens the door for that rebuilding to even begin. Without it, you're stuck in a cycle where both people are defensive, guarded, and afraid to be vulnerable. Sometimes, people confuse forgiveness with forgetting. You might never forget what happened, and that's okay. Forgiveness is not about erasing the memory. It's about changing your relationship to it. You can remember something without letting it control you. You can acknowledge the hurt and still choose to love the person in front of you. There's also a difference between forgiving and tolerating. Forgiveness is a choice to let go of resentment. Tolerating is allowing the same harmful behavior to keep happening. A healthy relationship has both forgiveness and boundaries. You can forgive your partner for a mistake, but also make it clear that it can't keep happening if the relationship is going to work. Holding grudges might feel like self-protection, but it's really self-sabotage. The longer you carry resentment, the heavier it becomes, and eventually it weighs down your love until there's nothing left but bitterness. Choosing forgiveness lightens that load for both of you. It gives you a chance to rebuild instead of constantly tearing down. When you make forgiveness a habit, you create an environment where both of you feel safe to be human, safe to admit when you're wrong, safe to try again, safe to keep growing. And that safety is what allows love to last. Because love isn't about two perfect people. It's about two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other, even when they've been hurt. Forgiveness is what makes that possible.